Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Multiplayer, the podcast by Gamers for Gamers. I'm your host, Zach Matscanis, and I don't know what... Oh, Jav's got the Luigi over there. The lover boy himself, Javier Ortiz.
What's up?
Yo, what's happening?
To pull that out so everybody can see. It's Luigi.
Is that the one I got you? I can't remember now.
It is.
Oh, yeah. So, remember everybody that Multiplayer is all over the place in your ears and in your face. We're over at youtube.com/multiplayer where you can see Jav's Luigi Carrera RC car, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
I got him the Luigi one for his birthday, the day of his birth. And yeah, man, that thing's dope. I have the Mario version of it, and that thing's like pretty sweet. Carrera,
great little car. I love that their bodies move. You know, especially and when you're steering, they move, they tilt. It's great.
Oh yeah. I'm a big fan of Carrera in general. If you've never heard of that brand, shame on you. No, they basically make like slot cars and RC cars and stuff like that, and I think they're much bigger in Europe, especially on the slot car side. But it's I feel like I'm starting to see them little by little, like a little bit more in stores nowadays. And yeah, man, they make a great RC car. If you're looking for like a Mario Kart kind of situation,
yeah,
they make a
quality.
good one. Yeah, because a lot of by the way, this is RC chat now. Or just talk which I could do. I could just talk RC cars all day. But I feel like with a lot of brands like Nintendo, where it's just like, oh, this brand's for kids, so let's just like give them a cheapo little RC car. It's like, no, man. Like when I was a kid, I wanted like the fastest, most awesome RC car you could put on the road.
Yeah.
It's like
durable.
If you treat your kid like a dang adult, they could do some awesome things. I mean, they're like every NASCAR racer basically started racing at like 6 or 7 years old. So it's like, I think a kid can handle like a really fast RC car if you gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? It's, the Carrera Mario Kart RC, it's got an A+ in my book for awesome.
Good quality car.
Oh,
Good tires too. The wheels are rubber and they're durable.
Yeah, fantastic. And they could go over like rocks and stuff. It's unlike the what's the card? I have the box here. The Mario Kart Live home circuit guy, where it's like it can't even go over like a small raise in like the carpet or something.
Yeah.
Obviously it's doing a different thing, but I just think that's kind of funny. It's like the little RC car can't do too much. It's like hardwood floors or nothing. Yeah, good time. Yeah, this is RC chat now, everybody. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining this week. I kind of lost my place at the top of the show. I got shown an RC car, but we're just rolling with it. Yeah, so youtube.com/multiplayer. You can look at RC cars on that side of things. But if you're like, I hate looking at RC cars, those things suck. I only like audible things, just things in my ears, just sounds, nothing else.
I'm blind.
Which if that's the case too, we got podcast services all over the place. You can just look for Multiplayer podcast service of your choice. We're there, I think. Probably. How did Google Play work last week? Google Podcast
Turned out okay.
Nice. All right, so I guess we're back on track with Google Podcast, which for some reason had like a slight delay the week before. So I guess we're good over there, and we're just like. What's funny, I was looking at our stats over on the podcast service that we use, and there were podcast services listed for last week I've never even heard of. I was like, what are these?
Oh, really?
It was there was like two weird ones. It was like Vox or something like that. That's probably wrong, but it sounds like that. And then there was like something else. And I was like, what the heck are these?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was very strange. So, if you use those services, more power to you. Any way you can just cram multiplayer into your life, more power to you. Live your life.
I think
Do you
HBO
think?
Max is going to come out with podcasts, so maybe we'll be on HBO Max someday.
Oh, they're just coming out with their own podcast service?
Well, I don't know about podcast service, but if I remember reading correctly, they're going to do like some audio podcast dramas, and they're going to have like a podcast. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to do something podcasty. So,
well, maybe we'll be there.
Yeah,
we'll see. And of course, you can listen to new episodes of our show every Wednesday. I remember this week, Hob. Nice. I remembered. Every Wednesday, our shows go live. And of course, you can find us over at patreon.com/multiplayer, where you can, if you like what we do, you can toss us a bucket to a month. It really helps to support the show. And of course, you can follow us over at Instagram at GoMultiplayered. Hob, we have a good show today.
Yeah?
I think. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, there's I want to get into a little bit of what we've been playing, because I've been playing some stuff. I don't care if you've been playing stuff, Hob.
Okay.
But I got some thoughts and whatnot on things I've been playing. And Gamescom is just kicking off, and Xbox just had their little kind of pre-Gamescom show. So I figured we could get into that a little bit, and the things that they kind of talked about and showed off during the show, and the things they didn't show off during the show. Ooh, we'll see.
Yeah.
And I, at the end of the show, I want to get into weird video games of days of old. Sorry, weird video games.
Oh, baby. There's lots of them.
Oh, there's so many. That's, one of my favorite things about old video games is just like a lot of times they're just real dang weird.
Yeah, I feel like we've moved on past that, like the old days of like shovelware and just throw it on there. Like Cory in the House on the Nintendo DS. That's a weird game.
What a weird game. But yeah, we'll get into that later on, so save those Cory in the House games for then. But yeah, let's jump right into this. So first off, Hav, have you been playing anything this past week? Anything of note?
You know what's funny? I have actually
No, I haven't.
I got the inkling to play a Pokemon game.
Ooh.
And I realized when I was younger, it's been a long time since I played like Pokemon Red or Blue or Yellow or the old OG colors. And I realized I had never played through it without having my like starter in my party, right? So like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play through Pokemon Yellow, where you get Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charizard, and Pikachu. You have all of them, and I thought I'm gonna play this game without them. Like, I'm just not gonna use them. Let's see how it goes.
You have like 5 Rattatas, and that's it.
I got like 4 Rattatas, a Nidoran,
and a Pidgey, Use Gust, Pidgey.
It's tough to start out that way because there's not a lot at the beginning of the game. You got like Caterpie and Pidgey, but there's really not much else. So, but I'm gonna try and do it. I want to try and get through the whole game without. I'm gonna keep all of them at like I think they start at level 5. Just keep them at level 5 and just don't touch them. And just be like, you guys. I'm not going to use you guys because you guys are always the favorites. So I'm going to share love to other Pokemon. So I thought it'd be fun. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Don't even evolve like the Pidgey and stuff. Just like...
I'm going to have a level 99 Pidgey.
Just one move, Gust. And that's it.
just lots of Gust. But yeah, I wanted to give it a shot. And every now and then I like to revisit the old Pokemon games. It's just it's where it all started. And man... It's just it's pleasant to go back to. It's like reading an old book that you used to read a lot, or like, riding a bike that you haven't ridden in like years. You're like, oh my God, yeah, I remember how to do this. I remember all of this. Yeah. Also, cool. I wanted to shout out, this is not something I've been playing, but it's a Kickstarter that I backed. I think it's called Hand-Drawn Game Guides.
Ooh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, they're really cool. This dude, he's making like a Zelda, like it's not licensed by Nintendo, but it's a fan made guide to the original Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and I think Contra. I'm not sure, but artwork is really nice. I backed it, so I'm gonna get all 3 of those someday. Whenever whenever the Kickstarter's done, they ship. So if anyone's interested in like really cool game guides that are hand drawn and really nice, hand drawn game guide. I'm pretty sure it's called. Let me just to make sure I got the name right.
Pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah. I mean, I didn't add it to the show at all because I'm a bad host, but Pokemon just had like a big like Pokemon Direct type thing. Did you watch that at all?
Oh yeah, no, I did not, but I do remember seeing it, but just not watching it.
Well, maybe we'll talk about it next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious if that's kind of where your excitement for playing through Pokemon came through.
It might have been a subconscious thing. Like I saw it online, like a post about it, and I was like, "Oh, Pokemon," and then I just didn't look it up. But maybe. By the way, it is called Hand Drawn Game Guides. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah, no, it's just disappearing in your screen there.
Well, it's called Hand Drawn Game Guides on Kickstarter. It's really cool. And yeah, it's Zelda, Metroid, and Contra. Really nice.
Dope.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I've been playing pretty much the exact opposite of Pokemon. Nice. So I don't know if you've heard of this little indie game called 12 Minutes.
I have.
Yeah. So for the people out there that haven't heard of it, shame on you. No. It's a indie game made by Annapurna that is basically a point and click adventure game. It's for Xbox and PC, and you're basically just stuck in a time loop. It's a 12-minute time loop, and this guy just keeps coming to your house and killing you and your wife. And your guy is kind of a jabroni and like doesn't know what to do to deal with the situation. So you're basically like, essentially trying to solve the puzzle of like how to get out of this loop and how to stop from getting killed over and over and over and over.
Lock the door.
Yeah, he just busts through.
Oh, well.
Eventually he'll be like, you locked this door on me? I'm coming anyways.
See, that's how I check out. It's unbelievable.
You can kick through a door.
Come on.
What I think is ridiculous is I'll get into it now. So basically I rolled the credits in that game. I think there's like a couple more things I can do, but I think I've basically beat it at this point. It's a little like it's a little obscure, a little obscure as to like if you actually beat that game or not. It's strange. It's a strange game. Obviously a game with a 12-minute loop over and over, it can be kind of odd, but
sure.
I played it through Game Pass, which was great because I didn't technically quote unquote spend money on it. It's just through my subscription, which is nice. So, but it was something I was excited about. Even if I did have to pay like $20 for it or something like that. I just thought the premise of the game was pretty interesting. I always like things like alternate realities or time, anything to do with time. I
sure.
think is always like fascinating, whether movie or game. So it kind of hooked me from the start. It has like a pretty interesting cast as well. So it's just overall, if I had to put a score on it, first of all, it's been getting like pretty mixed reviews. A lot of like 7s and 8s. I'd probably be maybe in the 7 range, maybe
Right.
even like a little bit less. But I gotta say, for a single player point and click adventure game, I actually played it with my partner, and it was like a lot of fun as like a co-op kind of thing. Basically just like you're just going around like, all right, what should we do next? Should should we grab that knife? All right, let's grab that knife and see what
Right, yeah.
happens. And then something like ridiculous will happen, and then you laugh about it.
Sure. It's like going to a room. It's like, let's push all the buttons and see what happens when we interact with every button in here.
Yeah, so I think that was the most enjoyable part about it. Was like it was really fun as like a just playing it with like like a friend or a partner or whatever. I think it's like if you're gonna play it, that's kind of the way to play it, because it's I think it's a lot of fun that way. It's just like a kind of choose your own adventure kind of dealio.
Right. That's cool, because I mean, like, there's no wrong way to play a video game. So like, it's
exactly. But yeah, and I feel like if I was playing it by myself, I'd be a little more critical of it. I think a little bit, despite having James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe in that, I felt like the voice talent was a little flat on some of their deliveries. I feel like they just kind of phoned it in, got that paycheck.
Happens, man.
Yeah, and it's an indie game, so it's like it's not a it's like there's some compromises. But
Sure.
I think it was all around. I think it was pretty fun for like a Game Pass game. So
that's why Game Pass exists.
That's why it exists. It's great for little indie darlings, little indie games that like maybe you don't want to spend a $30 on and be disappointed if you don't like it kind of deal. So you never know what you're really getting into with like an indie game. So this one was like, it was serviceable. I had fun for like it's probably about a 7-hour game, I would say.
Okay.
So but we basically played it over a couple nights, so it was nice.
Nice.
And then speaking of Game Pass, I've been playing Halo. So basically
continuing
I want to get into continuing my Halo escapade. So first off, I finished Halo 1, and good lord, is that a snooze fest. Sorry, everybody who likes Halo.
Whoa, if you rate it out of 0 out of 10?
It's hard to say, because it isn't like it's like a 20-year-old game now. So it's
I hear that.
It's tough.
I hear that a lot with people, like, oh, it's tough to judge like an old game. Yeah, but you know what? If I go back and play Super Mario Brothers 3 right now,
that's true.
I can still give that game a 9 or a 10. It's still excellent. So games can stand the test of time.
It's no like excuse. I played Super Mario 64 when it was released for the Switch, and they basically did nothing. That was just, they just ported it, and you're basically done.
It's essentially, you can see it in high quality.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, hey, you know how this was rough around the edges? We smoothed it a little bit, and that was it. That's all they did. But that game, like, if you go and play Mario 64, you might struggle with the camera a little bit, but overall, that's almost a damn near perfect game.
Oh yeah,
like
still fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. It's insane.
Yep.
But yeah, like playing the original Halo all the way through, it was a chore. Like I got to a point where I was like, no, I'm just gonna do this to just say I did it at this point.
Right.
It's just I would say like the first like third of the game was like decent, and it just kind of got worse and worse. It just kind of turned into like this weird like horde mode towards the end, where it's just like there's like never ending. That like the stupid flood enemies is like, yo, go away! Like, this is so boring.
You had mentioned that last week, that it was just never ending, and you spent like, what was it, like 15 minutes in just like one part, like just wouldn't end.
Yeah. Well, there was like, so you're basically going through these different like levels of this building. And it's just like level 1, it's like 15 minutes you're in there like killing these stupid enemies. And then level 2, it's the exact same thing, just killing the same damn enemies. And then level 3 and level 4, and it's just like, yo, can I just get out of this stupid building already? Like, this is awful. So it's just like, and there was just like some weird things with that first game. Like, they don't really go into like why you're really there, like on the Halo. It's
To stop the bad
like you
guys.
just, well, you know that that GIF or that meme of like the two Nazis and the one guy looks over at the other's like, are we the bad guys?
Yeah.
And I feel like in the first game, there's really not a good explanation as to why you're there. It's just like, we're fighting the Covenant. Hey, look, the Covenant have this like Halo thing. Let's drop on there and mess some stuff up. It's like, from our research, it's like a holy relic of theirs. It's like, yo, you're just going to like basically their church and killing them.
Look, man, we're the humans. They're the aliens. We gotta kill them. That's it.
I guess.
That's all there is to it, especially in these war games. They're not one of us, so they're against us.
I guess. So anyways, I finished the game, and yeah, if I had to rate it, it'd probably be like a 6 out of 10 kind of deal. I would say like the shooting feels good in the game, but just about everything else, it's just like, I even still, I think, Master Chief is like a pretty dull, boring character. There's not much life to him. Cortana's kind of interesting.
Does it at least lay like a groundwork, a blueprint of like, all right, I could see them improving on a lot of this stuff to make it really good?
Yeah, 100%. And in fact, that's kind of what I wanted to get to with Halo 2, where I'm probably like a quarter through Halo 2 if I had to guess, and it's a much better game. And
nice.
I could see why like people, say it's like their favorite in the series. Like they basically took everything from Halo 1 and made it way better. I think the combat feels, better than the first by a lot. Guns feel even better. I think things like the jumping and shields feel better in that game. Fighting the enemies feel better. The story is all around like much better so far. But I gotta say, pretty early on in that game, the damn flood comes back, and I'm like, yo, nobody went up to these dudes at Bungie making this game. It's like, hey, the flood's real boring. Please don't put the flood in there. Like, nobody said that. They brought him back, and it's just like, oh my god, no! I'm fighting the same damn things again. It's like a freaking horde mode.
You gotta kill them all, man.
It's so
you didn't
boring.
Kill all of them the last game, so you gotta kill them all again.
It's so bad, but but overall, it's much better than the first so far.
Nice.
I'm gonna keep playing through all these dang Halos, so I can say I've officially played through all of them, and I can really just tear into them. Then
that is a chore for sure.
It is, man. But getting to that first one, that was painful. That was real painful. But so far, there's a lot I've been liking about the second game. It's much better than the first. Still has its problems, but much better than the first.
Sure. What year was Halo 2?
Ooh, that's a great question. Let me double check.
I have no idea. I'm like so oblivious to Halo games.
2004.
Okay. It's still pretty early.
Yeah, it's pretty early. I mean, that's still like, the first first 3 games were basically, original Xbox games.
That's so crazy to think about. I always think of the 360 when it comes to Halo.
Well, you're thinking wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I take that back. Halo 3 came to the 360. That came out in 2007. So, yeah, that was a 360 game. So, my bad.
So nuts. I swear. I know Halo's been around forever, but I can't believe that Halo 1 was still like the OG Xbox. Well, Halo 1 and 2. Like, it's like almost 20. I mean, that's 20 years. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. It's, yeah. I mean, it came out, November of 2001, the original Halo. So, it's almost been 20 years now.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yep, just shy of it. So, time flies, man. Time flies. I remember, playing that game with like friends at their house, like, multiplayer and all that fun stuff. I was like, this is cutting edge. Not for me, but it's cutting edge.
I remember first hearing about the Xbox and being like,
yeah, I remember
that's
that
a weird
too.
looking console.
And that thing was so big.
Yeah.
And the controller. It's huge.
It's like a brick and a tinier brick.
Yeah. So speaking of Halo and Xbox and all that, I wanted to kind of jump into a little more Halo news. So we got some info this week.
Halo Infinite release date?
Heck nah. So let me caveat all this by saying we're recording Tuesday, August 24th. This is basically the day before Gamescom starts. Xbox had like a pre-Gamescom show where they showed a bunch of stuff, but they gave no release date to Halo. So in theory, they could still give a release date over the next couple days. So apologies if you listen to this on like Thursday and they've given the release date. But you know, we're going with hey, we haven't gotten a release date yet for this game that's supposedly coming out this winter. So before we get into the Gamescom stuff, yeah. So basically, 343 came out and basically said the other day that Halo Infinite, upon release, basically their co-op and their Forge mode, which is like their mode for like editing maps, won't be at launch. So like their campaign co-op and you know like a big multiplayer feature, they just won't be at launch. Which, you know, the Forge mode thing is one thing, but I feel like co-op in Halo is such a big feature that's always been there. Like when I played through a bunch of the Halos when I was younger, like anytime I played through the campaign, I always played it at like a buddy's house with a friend, which is why I just have like weird like pockets of like misinformation and stuff. It's like, well, I remember playing like half of this, and then like I would go home and we'd never pick it back up again. So it's just that's why I'm playing through them all now. But that's basically how like a lot of people play the Halo games. They play them co-op, and yeah, it's just not going to be there at launch. And the multiplayer Forge mode won't be there at launch. So and weird. You know, they just had this big Gamescom you know, video, and you know, there's just no official date for it coming out this winter, which is you know, if you're gonna do it at like a big event, Gamescom's basically the last one before the holidays, so it's just kind of strange. So it's like, you know, what do you think's going on with Halo?
I mean, the only thing I can imagine is they're still trying to make it pretty. Like that first preview that we all got, you know, it didn't look great. It's, you know, like a lot of stuff just looked like unrendered. I mean, you know, the environments looked okay, but like once you saw the creatures, just like, ugh, what are these things? Like they're so ugly and just doesn't look done. Like, and you know, that might be the case. It's just not finished. So it's weird though, because like today's day and age is like the multiplayer aspect of things are in some games just more important than the actual story anymore, or single player aspect. So it's weird that like to make that conscious decision of like, no, it's that part's not going to be ready at launch, and we still don't know what launch is, so we have no idea how much longer it's going to take for them to finish, you know, finishing the game basically, because that's what I honestly think. I don't think it's finished. I mean, from what we saw, from just the little we saw before, it just doesn't look done.
Yeah, and you know, I've heard some good things about the little alpha they just did, the multiplayer alpha. I didn't get a chance to try that out, but you know, the thing is like, let me double check when. So Halo 5 came out. Let's see here. So Halo 5 came out in 2015, which basically means that in October 2015. So it basically means that, you know, they've been working on Halo Infinite for, you know, at the very least 5 years. Yeah. But, you know, more like 6. And, you know, it's just something like, you know, development for video games is obviously very challenging. We don't know how the hell to do it.
Computers.
And computers. I think they have some sort of involvement in the process, and
Yeah, definitely.
so it's like, I know it's like a very challenging, um, career, and there's obviously COVID kind of throws a wrench in things too, but it definitely makes me worried for this game that like this was supposed to come out winter of last year, and then they're like, hey, we're gonna push it for a year so that we can just make sure it's like super polished and good to go. And it's like, all right, cool, that makes sense. So the game's basically done. You just want to polish it for a year, all right? But then it's just like, hey, these features aren't going to be there at launch. Like,
Yeah, and this is your
seems a little
flagship
weird.
title as well. Like this isn't just any
Yeah,
project. It's what the Xbox was made for. It's
yeah,
having one without the other doesn't make sense. So I mean, it just you already missed the Xbox One X Series X window launch, right? So it's weird to go this far into your next gen console and still not have any information about your flagship title. It's odd. It's like, what are
yeah.
you
It's a
telling
little
us, guys?
strange.
Did
So
everything get deleted off your servers? You have to restart. Did an intern
who
actually press
knows?
delete?
I mean, who knows? There's like that big Microsoft breach, security
Yeah,
breach, not too long ago. So some cyber terrorists, they took the codes.
it took Halo. Of all things they could take from Microsoft.
Master Chief, no. But yeah, so I don't have too much to say on it other than just like, yeah, it just kind of it's a strange tale. I'm going to be interested to like I hope in a couple of years we'll start to hear stories as far as like what's going on with that, like what happened with that development and like what
Sure.
that team at 343 went through to kind of get this this thing out the door. So I'm sure COVID affected them like it did everybody else, and
Oh yeah, of
um
course.
and it's obviously they have a big task on their hands. Like a lot of people weren't a big fan of Halo 5, at least the story. I heard good things about the multiplayer, but they really got to like, come out just swinging so hard on this game. So it's got to kind of blow some minds, or else like,
Yeah.
I just don't know like what 343 is gonna do after this. If I have a hard time thinking like, Microsoft be like, well, 343, you're just kind of struggling with this. We're gonna give this to a different developer or something. But or maybe they just totally do a revamp of the studio and get some new blood in there. So I don't know. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell at this point. It is interesting to say though that Halo 5, the single player wasn't enjoyed as much as the multiplayer, and then Halo Infinite's going to come out with only single player first.
Well, they're gonna
And
have the multiplayer, but they're not gonna have parts of the multiplayer.
okay, so parts, but it's just weird to have some, but not all. It's just
Yeah.
it's just weird.
Yeah. So, kind of moving on here. So, like I said, Gamescom starting tomorrow. At the time of this, of us recording this, but Xbox had a, like a little kickoff event for Gamescom where they showed off basically like some new footage for upcoming games and things to just get you excited about what's going on in the world of Xbox. We got like new info on like Microsoft Flight Simulator and Forza Horizon 5 and some of the other fun things coming out this year. Hob,
Yeah.
was there anything in this little kickoff event that you were kind of excited to see?
Yeah, so one, Psychonauts 2, because the original Psychonauts is
Word.
really fun game.
Oh, you've played it. You played that one.
I mean, years ago, but yeah, I played it when I was younger. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you're just this little like Tim Burton-y looking character, Raz, and you're just having psychic powers and like it's very colorful and very interesting art style. I mean, it looks like a Tim Burton or like Coraline movie. You know, it's got that gothic art style. I don't know how you would describe it, like that art style. But it's
Sure.
fun. I mean, I'm excited to. I'd love to revisit that world again. In fact, I should download that game. I'm pretty sure it's available on the PSN store, so I'm probably gonna
Oh
download that
yeah.
one and check it out again. But that looked great. And then Dying Light 2, like it made me. I never played the first one, but seeing this one, I was like, man, that movement does look pretty clean. Like just doing like Mirror's Edge style parkour with an axe, or and now you have like a rope or like a parachute to like make the world traversal even more interesting. So like that looked really cool. It just looks. I just love the way that trailer looked, like with the movement and everything. Like it all looked pretty seamless. Anything where like you're that agile and like you can move kind of like that. Again, like Mirror's Edge style. Like it's really cool to look at.
Yeah. I'm with you with both of those games. So, just starting off with Psychonauts. I haven't played the original. It's on my list of things to play on Game Pass. Haha.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, oh yeah, I have it downloaded and everything. I haven't started it yet, but Psychonauts 2 literally comes out tomorrow as we record this. So it's on my list, and man, this last trailer made that game look so good. Like,
Yeah.
it looks so stylish. It looks funny. It looks like they really it looks like they really just like had some fun making that game.
Oh yeah, lots of colorful, fun-looking
and
characters too. It just looks like a really interesting world, and everyone that you're involved, like everyone that you're interacting with, looks really interesting.
yeah, for sure. And when that game was basically originally in development, obviously the studio making it was still like an independent studio. Eventually got picked up by Microsoft, and it looks like they had the money to like do right by that game, and just make it nice and polished and have a lot of fun making it. So pretty excited to jump into Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
It's on my list for the next couple weeks here. So I'll give some thoughts on that once I play through it. And then same thing, Dying Light 2, that's looking pretty solid. Dying Light is another game I totally missed out on. Honestly, I probably have it downloaded and I just never got around to playing it.
Right.
But I would love to go back and play the first Dying Light. I know a lot of people that were like big fans of that game, and it got some like interesting expansions, if I remember correctly. And so I'd love to just go back and check that game out and kind of get ready for Dying Light 2. Seems like such a cool world.
Yeah, right. Like having parkour, but then zombies on top of that. Like that's a good idea.
Oh yeah. Although it's always from the trailers of the original, I always just felt so stressful because it's like it gets dark out and then like all the zombies get crazy and you're like trying to run back to your camp, and it's just like, oh, it seems so stressful.
Well,
but
it's probably
I'm
the
down.
point.
That's probably the point.
Can't imagine you want to be pretty relaxed in that world.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are kind of the big ones here for me. Although Into the Pit looked kind of interesting too. It seems like a Doom type game.
Here's what I wrote for Into the Pit: machine gun magic.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all I was thinking of. Just like,
yeah, dude, you just got like, you basically just run around. Imagine like the new Doom games, but like it's just your hands instead of guns, and you're just like zapping like hell demons.
Yeah, basically.
And then you're just like, oh yeah, I did it.
Yeah, I just thought of like, it's like if Skyrim met Doom or Wolfenstein. You just have your dual hands out and just shooting different things out of your hands.
So I don't know. It looks like it could be fun for a couple hours.
Yeah, I think so. Like that's definitely that. Like obviously it's an Xbox event, but like that's like, here's your free game of the month. If that was a free game of the month, I would definitely look into that.
Yeah, 100%. And then yeah, just I already mentioned it a little bit, but man, Microsoft Flight Simulator, I feel like that game just came out and was like perfect, and everybody loved it. And now they're just, I think for the next like 4 years, we're just gonna see them just basically just taking their victory laps. Like they're just like, hey, we got a little racing mode now. You could race like World War II planes. Here's like some little like taxi drone looking helicopter dudes. Like, have fun. Have a good time. Like, what's good? I have that game downloaded. I haven't started playing it yet, but I'm like so excited to jump into Microsoft Flight Simulator. I love those games.
It's never been my like cup of tea. Like I just never understood. Like I don't get it. What, you just fly? Like
Just fly, baby. Just fly.
Yeah. I never understood it, but I mean, it does look pretty. I'll give it that. It looks great. Like visually, it's just very appealing.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. So I'm really excited to jump into that, especially with with the World War II planes coming out. Like that's pretty exciting to me.
That'd
I
be
want to
pretty
fly
cool.
some of those bad boys around
Yeah.
town. That'd be nice. But yeah. So other than that, like there's some other things like State of Decay and Wasteland and stuff. To be quite honest, like, man, I don't get the appeal, but that's just me.
Yeah.
If you like those games, live your life. More power to you. I just I haven't gotten into any of those franchises, but
Yeah, another one that I thought was weird was this game called Stray Blade, where you're like you've got
yeah.
like a little animal buddy. I don't know what he was, I forget. But like
Oh, like Fox or something.
yeah, he's just your little animal buddy. And like but like during the gameplay, he's not there. Cuz you're just this sword guy. I was like, "Wait, where's my that guy looked more interesting. Where's he? Like or she? Like that thing. I want to see that thing. Not I don't want to be like random knight person with a sword. Like I want to be that guy. Like and then he just wasn't in the gameplay. I was like, "Well, what's the point of him? Like where is he?"
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that
yeah.
game is still being worked on. I don't think it comes out till next year. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot more to see.
Yeah, they got some more time to wow us.
Yeah, I just thought it was so weird because like the opening cinematic thing is like you have a human with their little animal friend, and then the animal friend is just nowhere to be seen in the gameplay.
Oh yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, like I said, I mean, it was like a 90-minute event, but a lot of it was just like developer diaries and a lot of fluff in the event. But I think we kind of hit like the big boys. Oh, and Forza Horizon 5 still looks stunning. I mean, that game will always look stunning. Cars. Give me a Carrera RC car version. But yeah, I want to move on to our real fun topic of the week. Man, I had such a fun time over the weekend. I didn't get into this during the what you've been playing section. I wanted to kind of save it for the end of the show here, but I did a couple things over the weekend. I went to a little swap meet, a video game swap meet, which was like a lot of fun, and saw a lot of like old games I haven't seen in a long, long time, with some big old hefty price tags these days. And like, man, I wish I had a couple of these copies.
Yeah, really.
And so I had a lot of fun there, and then I went to this amazing arcade here in LA called Neon Retro Arcade and played some amazing, just classic arcade games.
Love that place.
I know, that place is so great. Yeah, so I went, I had never been to the one in Pasadena, and it's great. It's beautiful. It was a good time.
Nice.
And I got to play a bunch of old classics like Golden Axe. I played all the way through Golden Axe with my partner Jerry. It was a good time.
Played the whole game?
The whole game, which when I was a kid, that game felt like it was like, I mean, it took hours to beat. We probably beat that game in 15 minutes.
What?
Straight up. Yeah, straight up. There's like 4 levels. They're like 2 minutes each, 2 minutes long each. It's like way shorter.
I guess
than
when you don't have to worry about quarters, you can just go.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I mean, we beat that game so fast. It was probably 15, 20 minutes. We beat that whole game.
That's fair.
That game's still great. I love Golden Axe. Play some Burger Time while I was there. Always love Burger Time.
Burger
The game
Time's
is
fun.
ridiculous. You're just getting chased by like little eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
It's like so stupid.
It's great.
But then I played a game I hadn't played in a very long time, and I kind of forgot how weird this game was. And the game was WrestleMania. And like when I was a kid, I just, I remember the game being awesome. Like, I mean, the game looked stunning at the time.
Sure.
And I was just like, this game is amazing. And I think I had it for the Genesis at the time as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was Sega Saturn. I can't remember now which version I played at home, but definitely the arcade version was like, I mean, that's easily the best version of the game. But I forgot how freaking weird that game is. I don't know if you've ever played this game, but
I haven't.
So WrestleMania, this game was it was published by Midway and Acclaim, and it came out in 1995 in arcade, and then it came out for like the Genesis right around the same time. Same thing with PlayStation, Super Nintendo, Saturn. So there's a bunch of different versions of it. The best ones being, I think, the PlayStation and Sega Saturn versions outside of the arcade. But yeah, it came out in 95, and this game is basically, if you took like NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat, and those two had a baby, that would be WrestleMania, the arcade game. Like, it's so weird. Mostly, like, I can see it now. Like, I can picture the meeting where, Mortal Kombat, like the original Mortal Kombat came out in, I think it was 91, maybe 92. I think it was 91, though. So, like, the original Mortal Kombat comes out, and actually it was probably 92. But the original Mortal Kombat comes out and does, like, gangbusters as far as numbers and sales goes. And I can see Vince McMahon, sitting in a conference room in, like, 92, and just like, look here, everybody. Mortal Kombat's doing crazy numbers. And that's a fighting game, and we're a fighting brand. We need a fighting game like Mortal Kombat. Somebody make that happen. That's my best, Vince McMahon voice. It's not very good.
You got the finger waving down.
I got the finger wave. I got to do like a little head shake too for Vince McMahon. YouTube.com/multiplayer if you want to see my head shaking. Look here, everybody. It's almost my Hulk Hogan as well. It's like, look here, brother.
It's very similar.
Very similar. But I could just see Vince McMahon basically saying, make Mortal Kombat with WWF characters. And that's basically what that game is. Like, it's essentially Mortal Kombat in a ring with like so it's mocapped.
Okay.
It's a mocapped game. So you have these really, and the mocap is really good. Like, I mean, the wrestlers really, really look like the wrestlers. Not a very big roster. You have like a couple classics like Lex Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart, the Undertaker. I'm trying to Razor Ramon's in there. Bam Bam Bigelow. And the most ridiculous one, Doink the Clown. What a ridiculous man.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So, and I'm probably missing one or two people in there. But yeah, I mean, so basically all the characters, like a typical wrestling match is like kind of slow and, methodical, you got a lot of grappling. This game is basically like mostly punches and kicks, and like you're uppercutting people and they're flying like 5 feet in the air.
Very Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. It's like Razor Ramon, like his fist will turn into a knife and he can like stab people. There's like,
that's awesome.
People are pulling weapons out of nowhere. Like, the Undertaker can shoot, like, ghosts and stuff. It's, like, such nonsense.
That's
it's
pretty cool, though.
It's like, what is going on in this game? This isn't wrestling.
Is it, are you in a ring that you can go, like, up and down? Or is it just straight up left and right?
No, it's on a 3D plane, so
Oh, okay, nice.
you're in the ring and you can kind of move up and down.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can have like tag team matches and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It's a cool game, but it's like, man, it's so weird. I think it did well for WWF/WWE, but yeah, it's just like, I guess they just wanted to, basically make Mortal Kombat, kind of like get into that space, that Mortal Kombat space, where it's like, stick this thing right next to like the Mortal Kombat machine,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I can see that. That makes sense.
yeah, and what's funny is like the publisher is Midway, who is also the publisher of Mortal Kombat. So it's just like, I just think it's just kind of interesting where it's just like, oh yeah, we'll publish this game that's basically Mortal Kombat, but
Was
with
that
wrestlers.
just on the Sega? Was that on Nintendo at all?
No, it was on. So it was on the SNES. It was
Okay.
on the PlayStation. It was on PC, and then it was on Genesis, 32X, and Sega Saturn. So I mean, it was
Wow.
like all over the place.
That's so weird. And it was on the Super Nintendo. That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one of my weird games. It's just such a strange one. I have another that I saw from the swap meet, but I'll let you go and then I'll come back to my next one.
So one of the weirder, I mean, there's tons of weird games, right? Like my first thought when you said weird game was, I was like, oh, Echo the Dolphin. That game's really weird. You're just a dolphin. Like, you're just in the water. You're just shooting like echo location circles. I don't understand the point of it. But then I thought of another game that I played when I was younger on Super Nintendo, and then I discovered that there was an NES version of the game as well. And both games don't make any sense. They barely follow what they're based off of, because they're based off a movie, off an IP, and it's Wayne's World.
Ooh,
Man,
I've never played the Wayne's World game.
I only ever played the Super Nintendo one. I never played the NES version.
That's gotta be twice as bad.
It just, like, the Super Nintendo version already doesn't make sense, because you're playing as Wayne with a guitar, and you're shooting like guitar riffs at like drums that have come to life, and like donuts. And
I've seen footage of this game.
Yeah,
I remember it now.
The level design, like, the game makes no sense. You start out like in a music store, and you're just like surrounded by instruments that have come to life, and then you're in like a diner, but you're really tiny. Like you're like, you have to fight like donuts and like other food and like coffee like in cups. It makes no sense. But the weirdest thing is, like, I think the last level, you're in a neighborhood, but the neighborhood is like floating, and like in the background there are like houses, but they're not connected to anything. They're just floating, and it just looks like something out of like a Twilight Zone. And you have to save Garth, who's trapped in a gelatinous cube, like from D&D. It makes no sense. And I always think, like, what were the developers, like, what were they thinking? Like, why is any of this happening? And what does any of this have to do with Wayne's World, the movie? Because it just doesn't make any sense.
So you always have, you have these companies that are like, hey, we have this like popular franchise. We need to make a video game off of it. And then they're like, well, how do we do that? And I was, while you're kind of talking, I was looking up like the actual premise of the game, and the NES and SNES versions are actually totally different games.
Oh yeah, they are. They're just called Wayne's World though.
So the NES game stays true to the plot of the original film, where they're basically just trying to stop, this like producer guy from buying their show. The SNES one says here, Wayne and Garth get sucked into the game Xantar, where Garth is captured, by what you pretty much said, a gelatinous cube.
It just doesn't make. But the thing that's weird about the NES version as well is that Garth is like running around with like a laser gun.
Yeah.
And like he just has a laser gun. It's like, why? And then Wayne, he just kicks people. Or he kicks, like, that's his action. Like, it's just like, what? Like, what does any of them do with anything? it doesn't make any sense. But it's like, there are a few games like that like one comes out on a later generation and then one comes out in a previous generation, and they're nothing alike.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have another game that's like that, but I can save it.
Let me all right, I'll do mine and then we can finish with yours. So
Okay.
the next one I have, a lot like Wayne's World, this is a strange game for the Super Nintendo called Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City. And I was reminded of this game when I went to the swap meet and I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this ridiculous game.
Is it a basketball game?
You would think, but nope. So Michael Jordan's basically like a superhero in this game, and your entire team, like the Chicago Bulls, essentially get captured by like a mad scientist or something. And so you're like going around town trying to save like your basketball buddies by like throwing like flaming basketballs at people and
Nice.
like
That
dunking
makes
on
sense.
fools. It's like a god awful game, but it's ridiculous. It's like everything's kind of basketball themed. You're fighting like robot basketballs, and there's like snakes made out of basketballs.
So weird.
And it's like such a weird game. It's it's so strange. Like if you go and just look at like gameplay of it, it's just like, what is happening? There's a level where you're running across like a subway train in Chicago, and you're just knocking out reporters or like paparazzi guys like trying to like get interviews with you and stuff and take your pictures.
No.
You're like, no, I'm trying to save my basketball buddies, and you're like knocking them out on the top of a train.
I've got to save the Bulls.
We got a game tomorrow, damn it. But yeah, it's like it's so ridiculous of a plot, and yeah, the gameplay is pretty awful.
What's that one
It's
called
like
again? Michael Jordan
Chaos in the Windy City.
Chaos in the Windy City. I'm gonna look that one up.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, it came out in '94. The main designer on the game. Here's a fun fact of this. The main designer on the game is Amy Hennig from Uncharted fame, director of Uncharted.
Wow.
What, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, what, something like that. Maybe it's just 1 and 2. I can't remember.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
Humble beginnings.
humble beginnings. Yeah, Amy Hennig, went on to do some crazy stuff with Uncharted. But before that, she was making Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City,
punching reporters, trying to save the Chicago Bulls.
It's so stupid.
That's awesome.
All right, give me your last one, then we'll jump into some you Nintendo don't know Jack.
So there's two that there's one that I thought of, and then one that I had from before. The one that I just thought of was also on Super Nintendo. It's the Batman Forever game. It's mocap. It's really weird. It's kind of creepy because it's very dark, but like Robin's outfit like bursts like as if like it's a Skittles commercial. It's super bright and colorful. But if you've never played that game, I used to have it. It's such a weird, creepy game, and the music is like kind of haunting. It's just really weird. However, the one that I had thought of before was Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Not the PS3 Xbox 360 version, the PS2 version.
Whoa, there was one for the PS2?
Oh yeah, there was.
Oh, I didn't know this.
And it is nothing like the PS3 version at all. This was at a time when my friend back home in Philly, my friend Brian had a 360 and I had a PS3, but he had a 360 before I got my PS3, so I still had a PS2 at the time. And he had gotten Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and I was like, oh man, that game looks so cool. It's like, it's Venom, and you get to play as a symbiote Spider-Man. That's super cool. And like, young Hav didn't realize the difference between generations, and so young Hav picked up the PS2 version of Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and when I started playing it, I was like, this is weird. This isn't like I was asking Brian, I was like, wait, it's Web of Shadows, right? And he said, yeah. I'm like, my game is really weird then. It's way different because it's not a 3D open world. It's a 2D level game. And like you get like allies from like random Marvel characters like Professor X, who
Yeah.
like the whole game is, I think it's called like the Amazing Allies Edition.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that.
So you get a bunch of Marvel buddies that help you at different points where you can just activate their power, and like Professor X is like his head just pops up and he just shoots like psionic waves, and it's just like that's it. And I remember when I started the game and I saw that I had Professor X, I was like, oh, what does he do? And that just happened, and there were no enemies on screen, so I was like, I don't understand what I just did. And then you just run around in a 2D world and have a way different Spider-Man adventure that it still involves Venom slightly, but it's nothing like Web of Shadows. Like there's no like there's more like text-based dialogue, but there's no like voiceover dialogue, so it's just like you're just reading text and like choosing answers and stuff. It's just such a weird game because of my expectations, because I saw my friend playing it on 360 and I was like, this looks awesome.
Yeah. I do gotta say the character movement of Spider-Man looks pretty solid here.
Oh yeah, it is. It's for it's like that 2D5, right? Because it's still like 3D-ish, but you're moving in a 2D plane. Like, but it looks like the way he moves, like it looks cool. Like the way he it's done well. It's just the expectation I had when I started playing. I was like, I thought I bought a different game. And I technically I did. I just didn't realize. I was like, wow, I guess there's a huge difference between the 360 and PlayStation version. I don't know. And then I discovered that for PS3, it's way different, and it's the one that I was more used to. But it's just a weird game.
Yeah, I never knew this version existed. This is crazy.
It's mainly weird because of the amazing allies you get. Like, just random Marvel characters that just pop up and then leave. It's just weird. Like they're not referenced; they're just there, and then they just It's a weird game for sure.
For sure. All right, we're running out of time, so let's do a little round of You Nintendo Don't Know Jack. Where if you don't know this silly game, I've got a bunch of Mario quiz cards from 1995, and they're all nonsense. They make no sense half the time. But I like to try and stump Hob with these stupid questions.
Never works.
It never works because they're so they're so stupid. But I enjoy the artwork on them and the funny stories we get out of it.
Yeah.
So Hob, your first question comes from Plants and Trees. Hob, what is the flower of romance? Is it the dandelion, the rose, or the tulip?
Or dandelions weeds?
I guess it depends on who you're asking.
I'm gonna go with rose. Pretty sure it's very generic.
Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah.
The flower of love is the rose. Flowers are often given as gifts and used for decoration. People believe that certain flowers symbolize particular ideas or feelings. And on the front, there's not a rose at all. There's just like a weird flower. And then Toad is running away from a bee. It's like, there's not even a rose.
I don't even think that's a dandelion or a tulip either. It looks like a sunflower.
And it's like, maybe do a piranha plant or something. I don't know.
Anything.
Do something.
It's just
and
Toad
on the
being
back,
chased.
On the back, I thought this was funny. It's just like a little girl giving roses to her grandma.
Oh, that's weird.
All right. Your next one comes from the category The Universe. Hav, how old is the Earth? Is it 500 million years old? Is it 4.5 billion years old? Or is it 20 billion years old?
Well, I also have to subtract 20 years because these came out in like 1995.
26 years?
Oh, don't
26?
Don't say that. I'm going to say 4.5 billion.
And you are correct. The Earth is approximately 4.5 billion years old. How can you find out how old the Earth is? Scientists discovered that by carbon dating old rocks from Earth's surface, they would know Their answer, Earth is 4.5 billion years old. And on the front, I thought this picture was so cute. Look at Mario giving a little like birthday to the Earth.
To the Earth.
And the Earth has like a little smiley face and like a little birthday hat on. Oh my goodness. If you can't see this picture, please go to youtube.com/multiplayer and look at this picture. I have it up on the screen right now.
So cute.
It's freaking adorable, the stupid little smiley face on the Earth.
But it also implies that Mario is the same size of a planet.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Oh, man.
You know, Mario's
what else is he capable of?
Yeah, he's capable of a lot, man. And then on the back is just like some like scientist dude, checking out rocks.
Yep, a little hammer. He's like, I'm going to hit this rock. Carbon dating.
What a nerd. All right, last one. Let's see if I can stump you with this one. This comes from the category wild animals. Hav, why are tigers striped? Is it to frighten their prey? Is it to camouflage themselves? Or is it to protect against the heat?
I mean, I had no idea. I didn't even know they had a choice. If they could be striped or not.
I don't think they do have a choice.
Yeah.
But they have them stripes for some reason.
I'm going to say to intimidate. Was that the first one? Like to scare their prey?
So you have to frighten their prey, to camouflage themselves, or to protect against the heat.
Yeah, let's go with frighten.
Well, Hav, I gotta say, I finally stumped you on one of these. Tigers have stripes to camouflage themselves.
What? How does that work?
I always ask, it's something I talked to Jerry about, where it's just like, like zebras, for instance, like, man, if I saw a zebra out in the wild, like, it's a zebra. Like, I can see you from like 10 miles away. It's like maybe get some camo or something, like white and black stripes.
In the big patch of green grass, I can see the big orange and black animal, or the white and black animal.
But let's see if this quiz card says anything. So the tiger has a brownish yellow to orange red coat marked with irregular stripes of black. This color combination provides the tiger excellent camouflage in tall jungle grass. It does not answer my question. But, I guess that is what it is.
I think in 1995, that was wrong.
But there's a picture on the front here of Mario painting stripes on a tiger.
That's
and
funny.
then on the back is just a tiger.
A regular tiger. See,
Just
how does that blend
tiger.
in with anything? It's
I can see him. I can see him just fine.
Yeah, like it's clearly a tiger.
Oh boy, well that's our show, everybody. Sorry, Hav, you Nintendo don't know jack about tigers.
I guess not.
I finally stumped you after several weeks of of stupid questions.
Had to happen.
But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week. Remember, these go up every Wednesday, so look out over at youtube.com/multiplayer as well as podcast services, and you can check us out at Go Multiplayer on Instagram. I'm at ZachMatzGanis, that's ZACKMATZGANIS. There's too many letters in my name. And Hav, where can we find you at?
Also on Instagram at loverboy_Hav.
It's way more simple than mine.
Yeah.
And of course, if you enjoy what we do, please, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell your friends, your cat, your grandma, co-workers, whatever, about what we do, so we can build the show, because we love to do it each and every week. And of course, you can help us out over at Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayer, where you can throw us $1 or $2 a month, and it really just goes to help supporting the show and keeping the lights on, all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's it. We did it. Another week down. Getting closer to 100. This is episode 93. So close to 100. We'll try and do something big for that. But let's get out of here, Hav. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week. And remember,
we love you. And you should love you too.
We love you, baby. We'll see you next week. Peace. We here at Multiplayer would like to give a huge special thank you to Kevin Hopkins, William Euchre, and the rest of our amazing Patreon community. If you'd like to support our podcast and get a shout out at the end of each show, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayer. See you next time, players. We love ya!